Hello, everybody. Nick here on September 22nd, 2024. Now, there's a movie I watched, and it was called Brazil by Terry Gilliam. It's a pretty old movie now. I think it was from 1985. I've never seen it before. I knew of it, but I never saw it before. And every moment in the movie that I was watching, every scene that was going on, it was such a, not every scene, but most scenes in the movie was just so reminiscent of how the world is going, the direction the world is going. I found it very eerie, but also interesting at the same time. I don't know how many of you have watched that movie, but if you haven't, it's a classic, and it was entertaining, but it was also a lot of symbolism and messages regarding humanity and human behavior, and probably very how would I say, like showing us a preview of what's to come. I think that from everything that I've learned, researched, just watched and observed of this world, it's so evident to me that we're headed to a dystopian society. I mean, one could argue that we're already there, but I not quite yet. Some countries are, of course, the likes of China, North Korea, to name a few. So, and some are actually in the midst of turning into one. Like if you look at the country of Brazil, coincidentally by the same name of the movie. I don't think it has anything to do with the country except for the song, a very popular song that they played in the movie. But yeah, from what's going on there, it seems it's on the road to totalitarianism, and it's not a very like, you have to be completely unaware and not, and with your head in the sand to not see what's going on. I mean, a lot of people don't think this is possible for the whole world to become a dystopian nightmare, but I do believe that, and I've seen it happening, slowly, with all these events that happen. 9/11, I did a video about that. 9/11, all the things that were happening in the 20th century, wars. There's always some sort of motive behind it. The technology that's coming rapidly, things like that. You saw in 2020 what can happen if you don't follow the rules. Even if you agree with those rules or not, that's, you have to realize that you can't have a society or a country or races or people, whatever, humanity in general, being controlled by small groups of people, the government. There has to be some sort of, I mean, how do I put this? There has to be some sort of barriers in place that doesn't allow these people to do what they want. But they were able to do a lot, especially in 2020. There's just so much shadiness going on and so much corruption, but it goes hand in hand. So I do see the world going into a lot of people like to say one world government or whatever, new world order, and that's probably going to give me a message on the bottom of my video from Wikipedia or whatever, which is another thing. It's like, who are they to fact check things that I'm saying? I'm just mentioning words and a thing pops up on the video. It's very eerie. I had a few subscribers telling me that their comments are being removed and things like that. I do not delete comments unless it's something that is very disparaging. But for the most part, even if your opinion I don't agree with your opinion, and it's not, mean or rude or, those types of things, I have no problem with that. We're never going to agree on everything, and we shouldn't always agree on everything. But so I do believe that we are headed for this type of dystopian, nightmare, and it seems to be this web entangled in all the bigger, organizations like the World Health Organization, the United Nations, pretty much every big corporation or organization that runs things in the world is taken over at some point. Not everything, and I mean not everything within each organization. I think it's just someone on the top kind of like orchestrating, and the people below, they have no idea, right? Unless they do their own due diligence, they don't really see. Not everyone's going to be able to connect the dots and see what I see. It's quite disturbing how a lot of people just rather be ignorant and go on with their lives. I would love for us to just all be able to just enjoy our lives, not worry about the tyranny, not worry about a totalitarian government or technocratic technocracy. It would be really, really nice just to smell the roses, work. I'm against working in general, but all that stuff. But if you're paid well, and you can have enough time off to enjoy life, that. But all of this is for naught. This is all just part of the design, the trap to keep us in this, into this matrix, as it were. So for me, I can see the dystopian future coming. And getting back to the movie, it showed how specifically this movie, I know there's a lot of movies that do show a dystopian future, and this kind of post-apocalyptic sometimes, or that's a whole different route to go. But dystopian society, this movie was perfect. There's a lot of the good ones, and I can't think of a few on the top of my head, but there's 1984 is a perfect one. How could I forget? The book. If you're going to check it out, read the book first and then watch the movie. If you're not really a reader, at least watch the movie. Very, very good. You'll see sort of it. There's a very, it's very reminiscent of what's going on in today's society. Except it's probably worse than the writer himself ever imagined. But so my belief is, in this movie, it's kind of showing us previews and hints of where they want to go. I think a lot of the movies we watch, especially sci-fi ones, and they really do show us a glimpse into the future. Now, I think that it's either somebody on the inside trying to warn us, but they can't, fully warn us, which I don't believe that's the case, but that's a possibility, a hypothesis. The other is that they control all, Hollywood is probably run by these globalist people too, but they have to show us there's some sort of universal law, or law of, I don't know what it is, law of this. In order for them to get away to doing what they want to do, to implement these things into the world, especially in the future, they have to give us kind of like forewarning. That's what I believe. I believe it's more so like that. I think that in order for them to be able to get away with it, we have to accept what's coming. We have to be aware and realize, this is, selling it as a good thing. It's kind of like, this is very interesting. For example, certain technologies. If we see them in movies from years past, and then something suddenly comes out which is very similar that was shown in a movie before, people will be desensitized and just accept it as the gospel, as the new normal, which I hate that phrase, but that's what the objective is to these movies, in my opinion. Now, basically, these movies do that. You can watch a lot of them. There was another really good one that I saw. Oh God, I think it's from 2018. I actually just saw it recently, called Upgraded or Upgrade. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend watching it. Not only is it a fun movie, whatever, it's, it is what it is. It's so glaringly just right in your face of what they plan on doing. It's so ridiculous. I don't want to ruin the movie if you guys haven't seen it, but one thing I will say, it's kind of like they had a character which was kind of like an Elon Musk looking guy or whatever. I don't know. It was just so just so obvious to me. You know, if you're connected to this stuff, you'll just see it and it without even thinking about it, and you're like, wow, it's bang on what they want for the future. Man, oh man. So very good movie. But coming back to Brazil, there was another thing I realized that they do through the movies, through the medium of movies and series and shows and things like that, is they want us to be very desensitized and normalizing violence and just disruption and bureaucracy, and as if it's like, oh, this is just everyday normal stuff. And I think they've been doing this for the longest time, because we watch a lot of action movies, violent movies, and things like that. Sure, not everyone's gonna want to be that, but it's kind of like they keep showing us these things to just sort of normalize. Get used to it, this is how it's gonna be, and in this movie it's just, oh my god, it's just so irritating to see how much bureaucracy is going on, and to get this done you got to have this document, no, this is wrong, you can't do this without this form or whatever signed. And wow, sure, there's some countries that are kind of like that, but not to that degree. The one really interesting thing that I remember is that there's different sections in the, I guess it's the government there, but different sections in the government, kind of like the information receivers, and then the information, the ones that send out the news and things like that. But it's just, one guy, I remember in the movie, he was like, well, they made a mistake, and then they arrested this guy. That's basically how it goes. They arrested this guy and he was the wrong person, so they made a mistake. But since there's like the one hand doesn't know what the other's doing, they're not all on the same page, so they sent them for processing to this other section of the government. And the guy, I remember saying, it was very interesting, he said, well, we got the right guy, because from in our minds, that there was no mistake. The mistake is on the first group that arrested them. We don't know. So it's kind of like there's no communication there, but very, very crazy, so to them, they executed the guy because they thought it was the right guy for them. So it's such a bizarre, it was a good film, but it was a bizarre film. And if you're really in tune with this stuff, you're going to see a lot of this. Let me just there was one other thing I wanted to see. I made a couple notes here about the movie. Where is it here? Oh god. Where are we here? Okay, I got it. Yeah, so that was one point. And that was the other note I made. Everyone's being desensitized. It's kind of like everything's become the norm. There's signs. That's one thing. There were signs up. Oh god, I can't remember. If I can find it, I'll post it. So one of the slogans that they would always have that would appear in the movie would be like happiness, and it shows a family in a car. We're all in this together. So I guess it's kind of like trying to get these people to change their perception by constantly repeating the same slogans or phrases that they have in society. It's really, really crazy. I'm trying to find the other one that I had here. I didn't make a note of those, but the other thing you'll see is at one point they're driving through and they're not seeing anything past the billboards, so they're just driving this road and it's all like nature, billboards and things like that. But behind the billboards, it's all like everything is just polluted, destroyed. So it's complete. They're not showing the full truth, obviously, which is basically the calling card of a dystopian society. The name that they mixed up, the guy that they arrested, I think the guy they meant to get was Tuttle, but they arrested Buttle, so it was like very similar name. That's how they made the mistake. It's just unbelievable. There's a lot of hidden meanings in this movie that it's just glaring us right in the face. I wanted to see what the other sign was, but I can't find it. It was something to the effect of like, Uh, and something breathes. I gotta find it. It's very interesting. It was basically suspicion breeds confidence, and the organization that I think had this all over the place was the Ministry of Information. So it reminds me of in the U.S. where they had like the ministry. They tried to set up the Ministry of Truth or something like that. Unbelievable. So I highly recommend checking this movie out to see all the meanings and the hidden messages and things like that. But truly, truly, I think they are trying to change the perception of people by constantly showing them things in movies that we see on a daily basis. You know, every year they bring out movies. So there is a dystopian society coming, or whatever future in this world. The only way we can stop it is just being aware. You know, all of us just saying no to these ridiculous, um, rules, and it's just unbelievable. I'm going to talk about more topics similar to this, but on a different day. I didn't want to like keep just rambling on and on, but I want to just get this video out to you guys because it just came to me, and I just saw the movie, so I just found it really interesting. Um, if you're in tune like the way I am, you'll see the same hidden messages without a shadow of a doubt. You'll see it. So I'm gonna leave it right there for now. I'm gonna wrap it up, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. I reached 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Absolutely, thank every single one of you for subscribing. I truly mean it. I never knew this channel would get this big, but I just think of something and I want to get it out to you guys. So because we're all like-minded, we can always disagree on other things, but respect and empathy and compassion are very important. So again, thank you very much. Never thought I would reach 1,000 that fast, but you guys are just unbelievable. No matter what you're going through, keep in mind that we're all going through some sort of difficulty, and together we can sort of, I don't know, we can fix the problem, but we can definitely handle any situation that we come to, and just talk it out. But again, thanks very much, and we'll have a new video very soon, and we'll see you guys very soon. Thanks again. Bye for now.